I know this is about the fourth day in a row that I've posted about Healthier Choices Management Corp, but this company is one that you all are absolutely loving. As we can see here, 6.5 thousand views, 8.9 thousand views, 4.2 thousand views, earlier today 4.1 thousand views in over 14 hours. You guys have been absolutely loving this company. You've been giving me video suggestion after video suggestion of what you want to see about this company, what things you're interested in about this company, and one thing that I have been seeing loads recently is why, a lot of people are confused as to why it keeps getting limited on certain brokerages to only being able to be sold, and why they keep stopping everyone from being able to buy this stock. Now, we have seen the stock price go absolutely off the walls. It has been up, it has been down, it has been all over the place. Whenever I first made a video about them, they were at 0.008. Now they're up, let's see, right over here, they were up to 0.0019. Almost 3xing already. Like, it's been insane, right? Today we saw them drop maybe about 30%. Absolutely crazy, all over the place. So with that being said, what I did want to do is go and clear the air and clarify what exactly is going on with Healthier Choices Management Corp and why it's so weird right now. Why do these brokerages keep limiting this stock? Why are they trying to stop people from buying this stock? Is this some type of conspiracy? What's going on? What is happening? So that is going to be the goal of today's video. Now, I did, start to talk about this already, and I did bring this up in my Patreon. Now, the Patreon is one that is filling up very, very fast. As you can see here, we did fill up the bronze early already. All 85 spots are gone, and now we are slowly starting to already work down on the bronze and silver, and then we do have some more options lower down there. But whenever it does come to this, both of these will get you access to the Discord where I do post my trades. I post my trade portfolio, early content access. All of this is going to be available through these. Just each one does give you something a little bit different, as the silver does give you my research to videos, etc. So if you do want access to this information early before I post these videos, definitely consider going over to the link in the description, as that will send you to my Patreon, which I am fully transparent with all of this information. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's figure out what in the world is going on with Healthier Choices Management Corp, ticker symbol HCMC. So we need to get one thing started, and now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to come over here to otcmarkets.com, and this will allow us to see a few different things. We'll see all of the most active stocks, their price, their percent change, dollar volume, share volume, and trades. But what I want to specifically look at right now is the differential between HCMC and every single company under it. The share volume of HCMC is at about 16 billion right now, with the next one being at 2.5 billion, nearly 8 timesing what the one under it is. So that way you can see right then and there that this thing is very, very high in volume right now, which of course is going to lead to some issues. Now, we did get an email from Robinhood, and this basically explains the reasons as to why they've been limiting certain securities, but this does apply to pretty much every single brokerage, especially in the United States. So I do want to go ahead, I'm just going to read from this, and then there's actually a YouTube video that I'm going to talk about that actually explain this whole entire situation very, very well in beginner terms, and I'm going to go through the description, as the description does make this very easy to understand. So if you do get somewhat confused in this letter, definitely stick around, as I will clarify this a lot. Well, it says here that we understand that the temporary limits we place on certain stocks this past week were frustrating for many, especially since we built Robinhood to expand access to investing. We have always sought to put our customers first, and we want to be able to invest on your own terms. To help explain what happened and why we had to take action, we wrote a letter to our customers and captured the key understandings for you below. Now, again, this does apply to many different brokerages: Webull, Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, all of them. Well, it says here that for a brokerage to operate, we must meet clearinghouse deposit requirements to support customer trades. So basically, whenever a person does make a trade, there is a certain amount of collateral that must be provided until that trade is settled, as the trade does take 2 full days to actually settle. Well, it says here that the deposit requirements are determined in part by how much stock a firm's customers hold. If a firm's customers' holdings are volatile, a broker, in this instance Robinhood, is obligated to meet higher deposit requirements. So whenever they actually have to make these deposits, whenever they have to come up with that collateral, it can actually go up and down. The percentage of how much they have to pay can go up and down depending on a stock's volatility, as again, they do have to wait 2 days for this settlement or for this trade to settle, and that can be an issue if the stock is going all over the place. Now, while we are reading this, remember, we were sitting already at 16 billion in share volume for HCMC in comparison to all of the rest. Well, next up, it says that last week, in part due to volatility and some popular stocks, Robinhood's deposit requirements rose tenfold. Think about that. Requirements rose tenfold, 10xing. The combination of the deposit increase and the extraordinary increase in volume on these particular symbols led us to put temporary buying restrictions in place on a small number of those stocks. Now, so we do have to think, okay, not only is HCMC doing insane numbers, let's think back and let's honestly think into the now as this is still going on. We go look at GameStop. GameStop down 60% today, down to $90, has been absolutely all over the place. We go to AMC, another one, down 41% today. Super high volume, absolutely insane. Let's go to Naked down 35% today. Super high volume, all over the place again. So not only is HCMC in the OTC market doing 16 billion in share volume, but we also have all of these other stocks that are going absolutely insane throughout this week. So you have to think that if these companies do have to meet higher collateral requirements, higher deposit requirements based on this volatility, that this is a very bad combination for a brokerage whenever it comes to, oh my goodness, we have to provide so much collateral and we have so many different stocks doing so much right now. So they said we had to take steps to limit buying in those volatile stocks to ensure we could comfortably meet our deposit obligations. We didn't want to stop people from buying stocks, and we certainly weren't trying to help hedge funds. And I feel like they just had to put that in there. We hope you take away this. At Robinhood, we stand with everyday investors participating in the markets. Standing by our Robinhood community means there for our customers through any trading environment. We'll continue to improve as we break down barriers in the financial system to open it for all. So let's go ahead, and I did want to jump over to this video. Now, this video was posted by Humphrey Yang. This is an absolutely phenomenal YouTuber. You should definitely give him a check out. Well, if we do go down into his description, I knew there was going to be someone who really just broke this down into simple terms, as I'm honestly struggling to put it in very simple terms. I understand it, but making it even more simple has been rough. So this description right here absolutely explains it perfectly. And so if you do want it kind of simple down a little bit, here we go. Well, it says that this is going to start with the DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. They serve as an intermediary between all clearing houses. They say a broker may have their own clearinghouse, or they may use a third party, which goes through DTCC. DTCC settles more than 95% of trades that settle on the market. Now, some places like Robinhood, such as Robinhood Securities, they have their own clearinghouses. Now, next up it says the other thing you must know is that trades settle in T+2 days, or they take 2 business days after the trade actually occurs to completely settle. So just because you buy a stock right then and there and you give Robinhood money, and then next thing you know you have the stock, does not mean that that trade is actually settled. Trade settlement is a process of transferring securities into the account of a buyer and cash into the seller's account following a trade of stocks, bonds, futures, or other financial assets. Essentially, settling means that the trade has fully executed. You got your money, they got their stock, and the trade is finished. Well, the DTCC's role is to guarantee that these trades fully execute. So you sell a share and you get your money for that share. The DTCC regularly requires collateral from clearing firms in order to manage its risk when it comes to guaranteeing this. Collateral is put up by clearing firms. So whenever we did mention earlier that there's a certain deposit that has to be made every single time there is a trade, again, they have to put up a certain amount of collateral in order to, actually have these trades go through with the DTCC. Now, this is where it gets weird for this week, and honestly, who knows how long it's going to last. It says, on a typical day of trading, if you trade on a Wednesday, the stock would settle on a Friday. In between those 2 days, while the trade takes its time to settle, someone has to fund that trade. The clearing firm does that as one of its jobs. The DTCC requires collateral from their clearing firms of about 1 to 3% for every trade. So let's say it's 2% collateral required. If you trade 1 share of Apple and the stock is worth $100 per share, the DTCC requires $2 from the clearing firm as a deposit with the DTCC for those 2 business days until the trade settles. Now that's just 1 share. So you got to think. That is money that the brokerages, if the brokerages has its own clearinghouse, which a lot of them do, they have to put up that $2 for every single share of Apple that you buy if it's at $100 per share. Keep this in mind. Because of the massive volume that was going on with GameStop, AMC, KOSS, etc., the DTCC, this is where it is, DTCC raised their collateral requirement rate from 2% to 100% for these shares specifically. Now, so why couldn't you buy shares? But you could sell shares on firms such as Robinhood. If you buy, the clearing firm needs to front that money for you to the DTCC for 2 days until the trade settles. If you sell, the DTCC doesn't require any collateral for the sales. So basically what we're seeing right now is that there is so much volume that the DTCC is actually starting to raise its overall collateral that they need. The percentage is it was sitting at 100% for GME and all those other ones. ones. So this puts a lot of pressure on brokerages. So whenever you have another company such as HCMC come around and they're doing 16 billion in share volume, well, of course, they're going to have to then limit them as well, because they, this is just way too much volume for them to handle this, as well as what's going on with GME, as well as going on with AMC, BB, NAKD, KOSS. All of them are going absolutely crazy. So again, whenever you see the highest share volume on the OTC market by 8x, then of course they're going to need to limit it down. Now, there are certain brokerages, like I have been filled on Fidelity a couple times for HCMC. It does take a while. So this is something that is just a little bit wishy-washy at the moment. There's no exact answer of what platforms and what brokerages are actually just going to allow you to fully trade HCMC every single day, as all of these brokerages are experiencing a lot of pressure, especially from the DTCC. The collateral in which they have to put up is through the roof, and they are just trying to simply make sure that the people who do make these trades, their trades actually do settle, because that's the thing. They could not limit these trades, they could not limit these securities, and if they don't, what we can see in the future is they are not then capable of putting up the money to cover that collateral, and then we may see a whole bunch of errors happening with people's trades, and then that would be a whole mess in itself. I hope I could explain this to you somewhat relatively decent. It is somewhat hard to explain unless you really do just understand what's going on with the market. Basically, in short, HCMC is moving way too much. The brokerages are going through a lot of pressure from a lot of these other super popular stocks, and so they're trying to limit down that trading on these big share volume stocks as much as possible until they're able to somewhat ease this volatility, until they can actually make sure that they can comfortably cover all of these different deposit requirements, so they can make sure every single trade settles just right. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Again, I'm trying my best to make this thing make sense, as it is somewhat confusing even at this point. We'll definitely just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens, and I think that this is hopefully not going to set too much of a precedent going into the future, that if we see a company like this one absolutely take off, that we see it get limited all the time, as that wouldn't be convenient and it would get very annoying in the long run. If I was able to clarify this for any of you, please let me know down in the comment section below, and if you have any questions, never hesitate. My email is always in the description if you do want to hit me up there, as well as my Instagram at tyler.hill.investing. With that being said, I do post on this channel 2 to 3 times every single day, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.